name is Leslie Williams. I keep wanting to say digital audio file because I'm used to making statements into my digital tape recorders every morning. So whenever I say I'm making this, I start saying digital audio file. This is a video file. In reference to... I keep staying making videos sometimes. Anyways, I was in a little bit of a laugh mode before I turned the video camera on. My name is Leslie Williams, and I'm making this video file today to help you understand the truth about what's going on towards me in San Diego, California, because I got some individuals that have infiltrated my life through extremely creative means. I'm breaking up a head cold. Through some extremely creative means. And what I'm about to explain to you is going to sound crazy. And, this expedition has been going on towards me, and my life has been going on for so long. It's really weird because, let me ask you a question, ladies, fellow citizens. If you were 48 years old and discovered that your life had been managed all your life, how do you think you'd feel? Especially if a lot of your life has been really bad luck. Sorry. This is probably and literally one of the most important YouTube videos that a human being can watch. And I mean this. If you knew me and knew what I have been through and what's going on towards me in my life, you would literally think to yourself that what I am watching right now, in reference to what I know, in reference to what's going on in my life, you would literally think to yourself, this is something that should literally be on the front of the Washington Times. In fact, the Washington Times has done some, posted some comments about me contacting them. Where do I begin? Well, I'm going to go ahead and make this YouTube video in reference to the Blue Beam Project. And the reason why I'm doing it is because over time, as a result of being a target of organized stalking, I have found out that it's nothing but a governmentally sponsored and protected campaign to bring that's got a bunch of different aspirations attached to it. In other words, the motivations can be different per target. And per target, there can be multiple aspirations per target. The people who are involved in it have multiple aspirations. And one target can be picked for multiple aspirations. Alright, so what is the Blue Beam Project? Over time, I have literally discovered that what has been happening to me in my life is a direct result of coming from a military family, in which my family literally sold me to human experimentation ever since I was little. And I didn't have a clue. Didn't have one clue. How are you supposed to know when you're 5, 6 years old that you were sold for human experimentation because your father was in the military? How do you know these things? Especially when they keep these facts from you. How do you know that what is happening to your older sister is the same exact thing, but they're putting it under a different label because you're not old enough to really know what's going on, because everything that's going on is being dressed up by my parents and told that what is going on is actually something like she's just a runaway, that she's this and she's that. My sister was also, this also happened to my sister and at least my younger brother, Mark. And my parents are nothing but extreme criminals. I'm going to state that today. And I'm talking about parents that came from upper middle class family, okay, with extreme military attachments. My dad was Chief MP, at least he told me he was, Chief MP to Curtis LeMay during the Korean, at the end of the Korean War. And I was also, went to school for electrical engineering, and I believe he told, my mother told me that's the reason why we were in a specific state when I was born, that he was applying for the aerospace industry. Now understand this and be clear, since my parents are involved in this, they're not going to tell me the whole truth. But every great now and then, before I discovered that I was actually a Blue Beam Project target experimentation that went on back in the 70s, this was before, see, because the people who are currently doing this right now are in contact with my parents, okay? And because they're still trying to use my parents today to bring about the original objective that they had for me in my later years of life. And they know now that I know about it, okay? But the point I'm trying to make is that over time, because I have discovered things in layers over time, and within these time periods, before I knew specific information, my mother would try and get me sucked back into them, so they can implement certain things towards me in more controlled environments in geographical locations as well. And so the point I'm trying to make here is this, is that there has been times when my mother has literally slipped and accidentally told me things, parts of things, and she caught herself and then turned in the second part of the explanation to steer me away from what she was actually, what actually slipped. And one of the things that slipped was she literally flat out told me that my father did work for the aerospace industry after he got out of the military in the electrical engineering capacity. I also have a first cousin that works for NASA, two uncles that are directly, I think one was a colonel in the Air Force and the other one was definitely high up in the Air Force. And my ex-husband was a electronics technician for submarine antennas. And he also had robotics aspirations. If you put all of this information together and look at it, and then review what is the technology that is being used towards me and how it was developed, you can easily come to understand that I had not only been a human experimentation target from the 70s, my ex-husband was a literal, deliberate, orchestrated individual that they literally steered to be in my life at a specific time in my life, in order for him to introduce himself to me, date me, marry me, and then bring me out here to San Diego, California. I've been kept track of my whole entire life, and intimate infiltration is part of organized stalking, and that can be found by going to www.gangstalkermode.com and looking under their techniques page and scrutinizing the fact that it's literally stated there that that's the case. Now, between my father's connections and my immediate family's connections, and how they had Dave put in my life, and I already know Dave was part of it because as a result of what I've experienced openly since 2002, I realized that the organized stalking has been going on my entire life and was 100% going on since 1986, all through 87, 88, 89, 90, all through the 90s, all through the decade of the year 2000 up until 2010, and still ongoing today. They started the open physical gang stalking, organized stalking, as far as the harassment, the electronic harassment, and the direct remote neural monitoring, as far as them literally flat out creating artificial dreams on an extremely frequent basis, the phantom touch, and the 2- and 3-dimensional floating images. They're just right now today. They're flat out just openly doing it practically every other night because they know I know about it, and so they just figure since they can do it remotely, it's no big deal. Hang on a second. The point I want to try and make to you is this: I recently, in the past 3 months, discovered the Blue Beam Project, and as a result of discovering that, I discovered that the holographic, what they do is through the experimentation of them experimenting with it, and then watching the people, like they project these holographic images towards kids, and then they watch, and then they're used for human experimentation throughout their whole life, and things are brought about in addition to that. But they also what they attempt to do is take the social development, the psychological development of a child that has been picked ever since they were little for the Blue Beam Project, in order to be able to accumulate data to see what decisions the child made, how they reacted to certain things, and they were also used in conjunction with the traumas, and even deliberately introducing drugs into one of these kids' lives, because they end up actually literally altering the drug. Because when you do your research into this, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I don't really like the word because to me it'll misdirect people and make people believe this too much to believe in, and this literally can't be just happening to some white girl Understand this and be clear. It's all over the internet. Members of the military and their immediate families are picked for human experimentation, and gang stalking, organized stalking, is always attached to it because it's a threefold thing. It's the Monarch program, COINTELPRO, which is nothing but organized stalking, and I forgot the other one that's used towards it. The remote neural monitoring and everything. It's three: the Monarch program, the organized stalking and gang stalking, and COINTELPRO, and one other thing. There's three things that are directly involved in it. So anyways, when I was a child, I literally at 6 years old I was walking down the street, because I remember it, because I went into the house and said, "Mom, I just saw Jesus." I was walking down the street, and all of a sudden, boom, right out in the open blue sky, Jesus appeared in the clouds. And I remember running to the house and telling my mother about it, right then and there, boom. Now, I kept that with me throughout all my years of everything that I went through as a direct result of my life actually being managed and maneuvered between my parents and people they literally, deliberately put in my life. They kept me isolated through circumstance that my parents has created, while putting people along my path while I was in those circumstances. That's how they maneuvered and managed things. And a lot of it was traumatic. Now understand this, trauma and drugs are always used for mind control. Always. I was going to say MK Ultra, but I don't like that word because some people will think this is, once they hear MK Ultra, they tend to somewhat disregard it. It's now called human experimentation, and the mind control is achieved through remote neural monitoring, stimulating and influencing. It's coupled with trauma, physical abuse, rape, and it's also, when they can get it done, coupled with drugs. Because what they do is they literally tweak and alter the drugs with specific hallucinogenics in order to be able to try and disassociate the mind more. Because once that happens, they can use the technology that's found under neurointerfaceblogspot.com and more thorough research that you can do. You can see how they couple it all together. Because mind programming is always the best way they can do it is while you're sleeping, subliminal, through these technologies, and when you're in a disassociated state, and that can be brought about through trauma and drugs. Hang on a second. Now you gotta do your research into this to see what I'm talking about. I don't do drugs. I want the American public to know today, I do not do one thing illegal in any way, shape, and form in San Diego. I do not do drugs, I do not drink, I do not sleep around, I do not know a soul here in San Diego. Okay? And the reason why I'm stating this to you is, well, I'll put it to you this way. There's some people from an organization that's advocating for me, but I have not met them physically once, and I do not have no electronics, telephone connections with them. Understand this and be clear. I do not do anything illegal in any way, shape, or form, because right now the government's looking for any way and every way they can to contain my ass, for multiple reasons. One is because I'm a federal whistleblower. I gotta hurry and say this because this video is getting long. I just recently found on the YouTube the Blue Beam Project, and I literally ran across a YouTube video in current space and time, right now, today in real time, where they're literally still doing this to children. A mother got on and made a YouTube video, and in the comments feature, she stated, my 8-year-old girl just saw a vision of Jesus Christ in the cloud, and it literally shows the same exact picture of the holographic image that was projected to me. I grew up 1/2 block away from a huge radio tower, 11812 Braille, Detroit, Michigan. Google it. And when you Google it, look for the map Googles, okay? And it'll literally show you the house, and then blow it up, and you'll see the radio tower. Radio towers are mentioned all over the internet as far as that's how the apparatuses they use in the community, because everything that's done through remote neural monitoring is sent through radio signals. Understand this and be clear. I know all how it works. I just wanted to inform the public to let them know that the tail end of what was made in the previous video. Alright, I gotta end this. Is in reference to the Blue Beam Project. I am a target and a human experimentation target in the Blue Beam Project. Holographic projections have been used on me.